barriers to access care. So the rates are even higher for people of color, trans Latinos, included. Let me see what else. Homelessness. It's like we have a very high rate of homelessness in our community. People don't want to rent to us. First of all, they see us as trans people in general. I don't want to say but think of trans Latinas and they're like, hi, I see a sign says you have a room for rent in an apartment. They don't say, welcome, here's the key. I don't mean to laugh, but I just get nervous when I talk about things that are very close to me. It's like they don't, we don't have access to housing, And think about the people when they don't have access to documentation, if they don't have IDs and stuff, or, tech stuff. Let me see what else. So what gets in the way of treatment for our community, What gets in the way for our clients to begin their healing process, the financial concern really plays a big role, right? Many of them don't have jobs, don't have steady incomes. The ones that do have jobs, a lot of times they're being overworked. They're being exploited. They're like, well, here's a job, it's $40 a day, and you work like 10, 12 hours a day, which leaves no room for you to be able to go and seek treatment anywhere. When it comes to that, communities that are engaging in sex work, they have to choose between treatment or a client. A client that might not come once again, or or call them once again, so they have to choose and they prefer the client. I would too, because I don't know if I'm gonna have a client tomorrow. So that's something that our client face. It's like they have to pay their rent or they have to buy their food. The economy, as we hear, cisgender communities saying the economy hasn't picked up. It's like, no jobs. Imagine for us. And imagine for people who are engaging in, sex work for survival. It's even harder because if the tricks, the customers don't have any money, the workers come, right? I'm putting it very R-rated, I'm sorry. So as and they have mentioned, very limited documentation, very limited health insurance. For those who are documented, the Affordable Care Act is great. It's a great step for us, and I thank our president for making that happen. But if you're not documented, that doesn't apply to you. So imagine all the millions who are not going to get access to health care in general. I highlighted it on red because it's something very important. It's stuff that we take for granted. Basic life skills. Like many of us know, I have a doctor's appointment at 10 o'clock. Let me make sure I wake up 2 hours earlier or 3 hours, make arrangements to get there, right? Or I have $100. I need to make sure it lasts me for the whole week because I need to buy food and to buy my Metro card, pay a bill or whatever. Our community, and many of our community, they're coming from Latin America where they were kicked out when they were like 7, 10 years old or put into work, in the farm or whatever. Many of them haven't learned a lot of those basic life skills. They don't know about time management. They don't know about communicating with their service providers. A lot of the work that we're doing with Trans Latina right now is about building a lot of those life skills. It's like they're like, well, technically that's stuff that you teach kids in elementary, but it's like a lot of our community that we work with, they haven't had that privilege or that that right, because it comes down to like a human right, to be able to have a decent childhood. So that's work that we're doing with Trans Latina, helping them improve a lot of those skills so they could be more successful. Because imagine sometimes we hear clients that they gain their asylum status and everything, and then they're like, what do I do now? Should I go to school? I don't even know how to go. Like, what do I need to do? How would I be able to go to my classes? So this is something where I'll speak. Okay, so let me see, staggering, discrimination is very rampant in our community, especially when you're a person of color, especially when you're a person of color that doesn't speak the language, that don't understand the culture yet, that is dealing with a lot of trauma, a lot of, flashbacks and everything. And this is what you were mentioning about one of our sisters that was killed in Harlem, and how, the police and the commissioner is still like dragging his feet around addressing, this and being able to bring justice for her. And so, this is something that we see happening a lot still. High rates of high hate crimes and murder in this country. Let me see. And New York has kind of spiked over the last few years. It's been, New York City, instead of getting safer for us, it's kind of getting a little dangerous, It's like, so going back to, tools that we use in order to help our community, short-term counseling, it works very well with many of our community members. Groups are amazing. It really helps create the foundation for them to be able to continue with their healing process. Hearing their peers, hearing their group members, their colleagues, go through similar processes really empowers them to be like, wait a minute, I'm not alone. I'm also dealing with this, and it's okay. I guess it's normal what I'm feeling. Normalize the experiences and stuff. We provide them with affidavits for asylum applications in order to and strengthen their application process. Referrals to different providers, and yes, I think I could end over here. So just things to take with you from what I share with you today. Let's use this strength-based approach with our community. Is that we don't. I don't work with my community. It's like, oh, poor thing, let me just comfort you. I'm like, wait a minute. I turn it around. I use their strengths. I'm like, you cross 3 borders, or you cross 4 borders to get here. You pass through the drug cartels in Mexico, because that's what we're dealing with right now, right? And it's like you came out of a country that has a high military and this and that. You had child abuse, so you were torture or whatever. But look at where you're now. You're like overcoming a lot of those obstacles. You're moving yourself from black market hormones into actually seeing a physician, taking more control of your health. Accessing HIV testing. You know your status. You're integrating condoms into sex work if that's what you're doing and that's what you choose to use. Sharing, bringing. What's so beautiful about this work is that they bring their own. Their own peers, and they're like, come with me, I'll take you to a place where you can get free services, you can get free condoms, you can get access to an HIV test. They'll help you, you're not alone. So what are we doing? We're using our own community as a whole to be able to continue to empower one another. So I guess I'll end here because it's very limited, but I'll be happy to answer.